Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Pufftastic, but you can call me Puff. So today I'm going to be speaking about tips to overcome your art block, why you might develop art block, and how to enjoy yourself when creating. Please like and subscribe. A very high percentage of you guys aren't subscribed, and as a small creator, I seriously appreciate it. Drop your thoughts in the comments as well. I love reading them. I don't get that many. Also, quick disclaimer, everything in this video is speaking from advice that works for me, so it could be very hit or miss for you, though I do hope this helps. Not all advice works for everyone, so I'd recommend trying some of my tips out, but if they don't work, then don't be too disheartened because they just don't fit you. We're all individual and our brains all work differently. So, what is art block? Art block is when you're too demotivated to draw or everything you create turns out just looking wrong to you and it stops you from continuing and producing something, or you may just have completely ran out of ideas, which is something I personally experience a lot. So, combating the first point, feeling demotivated. Demotivation is something we all suffer from, especially as creatives. This could be due to a multitude of issues such as stress, insecurity, lethargy, if I pronounce that right, lack of inspiration, or even that you've just completed a large project and have to start something from scratch again if you're an illustrator who spends a lot of time per piece like myself. First step to help demotivation is to identify exactly what is making us feel demotivated. Once we identify that, we can help to alleviate or eliminate that problem. For example, if you're stressed, take a step back and identify exactly what is stressing you. If it's work, for example, it would be wise to either take your mind off of it by attempting to relax, or if you're behind in your work, to complete it and get it out of the way so it's not consuming your headspace. If it's insecurity around your current art skill level, then you've probably been consuming way too much art from other people, and if it's not, I'm touching on that later. And spending too much time studying their work. It's always important to study the work of others to improve your own work, yes, but when you start becoming insecure because you feel you cannot match that person's skill level, or everything you create just doesn't live up to anything that they could produce, it's actually doing more harm than good for you. This is something that happens to me, and if I get frustrated with it, I just step back, stop drawing, and come back to it the next day, trying not to focus too much about improvement for the time being, and more so on creating something that I like the look of and drawing something or a character that I like. If it's lethargy, which basically just means that you're tired, then get some rest and realise that trying to force something isn't going to amount to anything that you'll like in the end, and you'll probably leave feeling like you either wasted your time or that you're a bad artist because you just can't draw the things that you wanted to, especially if you do art full time or are aspiring to, or just take it very seriously. Then it's insanely important to keep yourself mentally and physically available to draw. If you're physically tired, you'll become frustrated easier, and if you're mentally tired, then you'll probably try to rush yourself or just won't produce something that you like in the end. Lack of inspiration and emotional void are massive contributors to demotivation. I typically find that I develop a lack of inspiration sometimes when I'm either completed drawing a big piece, like I just spent a few weeks on something big, or I just don't have any ideas to brainstorm. My usual process will go along the lines of I really like a character's design and begin thinking about ideas before I even start the piece when I'm still working on something else, so I already have a good idea of what I'm going to do. When I have a lack of inspiration, I have no idea where to start and who or what to draw, and a blank canvas suddenly becomes very scary. I'm generally really indecisive and try to force an idea, which usually comes out as vague, messy, and just bad. Emotional void follows the same theory, where I've just finished a drawing I spent a very long time on and I wasn't emotionally prepared to finish this and start something new, as it's a big change from what I've been doing the last few weeks. I recommend, if you struggle with either, to visit Pinterest to make boards, do things such as give yourself a prompt, join an art collab, or if you have a lot of free time, if you're just trying to draw something specific, brainstorm a few thumbnails and decide on your favourite one. If it's still not coming to you, then give yourself a while, talk to your friends, but also don't stress and overthink about it. It'll make it worse in the end, and art is supposed to be fun. really sorry about that, last line I was reading. I got a notification on YouTube, and I was trying to read it while also reading the script, and it messed me up. Okay, sorry. Now, moving on to the second section, my work looks bad. This is very similar and can be the same as art insecurity, so it could be down to you comparing your work too much to other people's, but in the case of you just feel your work looks bad, it could be anything from a style change, your eye developing faster than your skill, or you're just rushing your work. A style change can come across when your work develops in a new way. In a lot of cases, this is a signal of improvement and will come off as a signal of improvement to anyone who views your work. But to you, you may have not wanted this style change, or you feel like it's your work going backwards. I've had style changes in the past before. You can see the slight difference between this piece on screen and this piece. You can tell it's drawn by the same person, but the different skill levels, which makes the style appear a little different. When I drew my adored Kokomi piece, which I love to death, I originally hated it because I didn't like the look of something that I hadn't drawn anything that looked like that style before, and it was slightly different, and I thought I was getting worse when I was actually improving a lot. If you suffer from this, I'd try to ground yourself and your thoughts and decide on what you don't like in terms of your new style and the style change, and what you do like, and give yourself a few days of drawing and doodling, and just work out exactly where you are with it now. For me, after I finish a piece, I absolutely hate it until around 2 days later, and I start thinking, oh my god, I love this, and not sure about yourself, but I would try and look at your style change and just, like I said, revise it, do warm-up sketches, and just see how you feel. Remember, the best thing you can do when you're feeling bad about your work is look at the positives. If you can't see the positives, speak to other people, because often, like how you see your own face, they see it very differently. Your eye developing faster than your skill level is something I actually heard from an old teacher of mine, where he told me that the reason why I was feeling bad about my work is because my critical eye and perception of my work was developing a lot faster than my skill level, and I just couldn't keep up. An explanation of this is when you begin to notice mistakes you've made a lot more in your work. This is important to development because it aids your brain when it comes to improving your skills, and it's what helps you improve. If you didn't have a critical eye, you wouldn't really improve and develop your skills as much because you'd never spot and correct old mistakes. As an artist, your critical eye can develop faster at times and you get really good at spotting mistakes, but this becomes a problem because your skill level often can't keep up with this, and it takes a while for them to even out and meet in the middle. This is usually where a lot of people actually hit art block. For example, your critical eye suddenly notices a lot of mistakes you previously didn't notice in the way that you draw eyes. Suddenly you find yourself trying to correct it, but you don't have the skills to do what you want to yet, which leads to burnout from pushing yourself way too much. After hearing about this, I just tried to have fun with my work and accept that I can have mistakes in there and that it's part of my art journey. One of the ways I actually improve so fast, like if you've seen my previous video, I actually made rapid improvement, is that I just allowed myself to have mistakes in my work that I could go back and revise in the future. I just sat there after I completed something for like a good hour and stared at it and was like, I love this because of this. And it's slightly let down because of this. It isn't ruined because of this, but it's slightly let down. Trust me, a lot of people don't notice. We want to be the best we can, but we need to allow ourselves to make those mistakes in order to learn from them. With practice, you will refine your skills over time and you will be the best. You will. Don't worry, you will. Rushing your work is something that a lot of people do, especially when you're feeling extra in the mood to draw something, or maybe you owe someone some artwork, or you're just completely overloaded with ideas. Occasionally, since I'm a content creator, if I haven't started something in a while, I feel an immense amount of pressure to whip something up. So I try to force ideas and things that I can show my audience, and usually this amounts to absolutely nothing. If you find yourself rushing your work, simply slow down or call it quits for the night. You're probably too overwhelmed or putting too much pressure on yourself. Sometimes we have to take our time to get something to go the way that we want it to. In conclusion, remember that art is subjective. It's meant to be fun, and the way that we express it is all up to us, and we all have the power to make something beautiful. I hope some of these tips and points helped you to understand why you might be burnt out and struggling, or give you some ideas as to what to actually do about it. Art block can heavily depend on your mood, so always make sure that it's not also an outside factor from your life that's affecting you, or even cyberbullying, since I know a lot of beginner artists especially get a lot of flack for posting beginner art because people just make fun of it, which is cruel. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please subscribe. A little announcement is that I'm looking to sell a little bit of merch soon on Etsy. I've ordered some tester charms for my Yoimiya keychain design, and I'm so excited to hopefully be selling. I'm only ordering a batch of 10 to begin with, which is a very, very small batch, so this is limited edition as I have a small following and I don't really want to lose out. I'm a bit bigger on Instagram, but still, I don't know if people will buy, especially since shipping to abroad, like internationally outside of Europe, is gonna be expensive for me. So if you're American, the shipping is gonna be like double the price of the actual jar. Just because I need to put tracking on it because I don't want to get scammed anyway. So it's very experimental, but it's also very exciting. Thank you once again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.